You fool. I won't be nearly as easy to defeat as my little brother. I go first.
You're a third-rate org with a fourth-rate academy roster.
My turn. Draw. Perfect. Now that it's been one turn, Contracts returns to my side of the field, but he's not alone. He stole your blue buff, which allows me to skill Jojo Pune's Rise directly to the mid-game. Now activate my face-down card, Proper Scouting. This allows me to add Shoryu and Mystic Quest directly to my hand. I summon them to the field, and having acquired my entire team, I've entered the team fight stage.
Not so fast, Dingus. You've activated my trap card. By moving to the teamfight phase, I activate late season roster swap, removing Ryoma from the field, allowing me to summon Demonte directly from the bench. It's standard time.
What? You can't do that. You started the season with Ryoma.
Screw the rules. I have merch money. Demonte, obliterate!
Evil geniuses, attack!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to LCS Proving Grounds presented by Verizon. It is day 2 of our wonderful finals weekend. I don't know if I should be introducing Yugi and Kaiba or Joshi and Kangas. Either way, I'm so happy to have you fellas here. Kangas, you look a little different than just moments ago.
Yeah, I decided to make some, changes to the look going into the broadcast. I was also supposed to have a mustache, but there's some miscommunication about that. So you're getting clean-shaven Kangas for once. Soak it in while you can, everybody.
Whew, a whole fresh view of you here for the Proving Grounds broadcast. Happy to have Joshi here as well, and we'll get your thoughts on everything we have coming in just a moment. Because, hey, if you tuned in yesterday, the heart of the cards might not have been there for No Org versus Cloud9 Academy. But Kangas, I do want to know, what are your thoughts on that series?
Well, that series did not go how I expected to start off. I thought No Org was going to win that one going into the day, but Cloud9 Academy, though it started off looking promising for No Org, they did turn it around and closed it out. And they're showing that they still do look like the best team in all of Academy right now. It's crazy. This is our 3rd year in a row saying that. The consistency of this organization is absolutely insane. But I still think that that was a preview of the finals. I have faith that No Org will make it back into there, even though some naysayers are saying, no, EGA or 100 Thieves Academy have their chances. I still feel like we'll get that rematch later on.
I think a lot of people vibe with you on that prediction. We do have Joshi here joining us as well. I don't know if you have that merch money on hand to be throwing in front of your cam, but I want to get your thoughts too on the week thus far for Proving Grounds and what you made of the series yesterday.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting watching yesterday because we actually got to highlight one of the players that we don't necessarily get to highlight as much with all the stars that we have on Cloud9 Academy. Copy had his opportunity. We look at Fire on No Org, who has been the 2-time back-to-back champion for Amateur. He's been able to win pretty much everything, and now Copy, who was one of the people that was looking to kind of rival him, is saying, hey, I'm the new king in the mid lane here. I'm going to take it down. I was at Scouting Grounds last year, and not only is he solo killing Fire multiple times in the lane, but he's also having this opportunity to basically end the game off of a single shockwave, and it's so cool to watch this new member of Cloud9 Academy do well when we have so many veteran players alongside him.
I think that Fire's got a lot more competition this time around. Copy's really stepped up. Jojo Pyun is another mid laner that's come in. Demonte's now here in Academy, so Fire definitely needs to step up his game and show that he is still the king of Amateur/Academy now that there's this bleed over if he wants to keep that 3-peat dream alive.
It was a great opportunity
one last
to
spot
get to
for
see
him.
them.
Yeah, this is one last spot for Fire. At the beginning of the tournament of Proving Grounds, he said this was just winning Academy and Amateur with extra steps. We'll see if he can actually do what it takes in order to get back to the finals.
And the finals will be coming up on Sunday, and after Cloud9 Academy's victory yesterday, they have locked in their place for that exact match. But today, Evil Geniuses Academy and 100 Thieves Academy are battling it out for their lower bracket lives, with No Org awaiting the victor in tomorrow's series. So as you all know, the Proving Grounds action continues. And before we dive into the business on the Rift today, Joshi, I know there's some business that has been weighing heavily on your heart. Tell us, what's in a name?
All right, Gabby, this is a big thing that we've been seeing throughout Proving Grounds. A lot of players have pretty easy names to look at. Obviously, this is Joshi, right? It's not Joshi, Joshi. It's going to come around, but some players find that this is an important thing. We get their names right or wrong, but Mystiques, as you might all know him, actually took the time to record how to say his name for us, put it up on Leaguepedia. So let's see what the man himself has to say.
Mystiquus.
Man, I'd like to just start by issuing a formal apology to my Academy play-by-play caster brother Desirux, who in their last series, EGA versus TSMA, was saying Mystic Quest correctly, and I joined it on Twitch chat saying, "Isn't it Mystiques? Isn't it? Doesn't it go by Mystiques, not Mystic Quest?" So I'm sorry, Desirux. I'm sorry, Mystic Quest. I was wrong as well, but I think going forward, production's got it down correctly. Probably won't stop Twitch chat from flaming us though.
I'm so glad that we have this piece of information, though. How many times do we really have the player themselves recording it at the quality you would find on a YouTube Google search and providing it for us here on the broadcast? I love it. And speaking of big names in the bot lane like Mystiquest, as we now know, this series does feature a showdown between two very impressive ADCs in the bot lane as well, and that's going to be Luger and Shoryu.
Yeah, this bot lane matchup is very exciting for me. Luger is a newer player to the scene. Shoryu's been around in the academy system for quite a while, but you look at their stats, the teams utilize them in very similar ways. And I would say confidently that these are two of the top 80 carries in all of Proving Grounds. I mean, King's obviously up there at the top, but I think that Luger and Shoryu are making arguments that they're next in line. And Joshi, we actually had a fun draft show where we hypothetically drafted 11th and 12th LCS teams out of just the remaining players from Academy and Amateur. And you're in agreement. You actually had Luger as your substitute and Shoryu as your first pick 80 carry. So I think that just shows how good these two actually are.
Yeah, I think it's really important to highlight that these two players, while the stats that they show up aren't necessarily the most impressive thing, they aren't necessarily the players that are getting a whole lot of attention early on in the game, right? We look at both Luger and Shoryu as these big players who are going to be consistent threats later on in team fights. And it's why, you know, you said it before, I put Luger in as a substitute and actually picked Shoryu over some of the other big names like King, like Prismo, like Gorka that have had some fantastic times in the Proving Ground circuit simply because of how strong of a role player he is. You know that it doesn't matter what happens in the bottom lane. He is always going to be a big damage threat later on in team fights. He's going to stay alive, and because of that, even though if he's coming out slightly behind, that's just a small difference. He's still going to have all of his items when it comes down to it.
Sounds like you had a pretty sick draft there, even with your bench being pretty strong in the bot lane category. Props to you, Joshi. I'll have to go back and check the VOD of that. But we're going to move from the bottom all the way to the top. Let's talk about 100 Thieves Tenacity taking on Evil Genius's Tony Top. And guess what? It's the top lane.
Yeah, and going back to the draft, this is actually another spot that we did where my other drafter, Cubby, who you'll see a little bit later on this week, picked up Tony Top as his choice for the top lane, and it's really important to know why he does that. It's a strong side top lane. He's been playing a lot of Jace and Renekton. He's had a lot of opportunities to really strut his stuff because he has so much attention paid up to his lane. And Kangas, you were talking to their coach Peter Dunn a little bit earlier, and he was saying that Tony Top is one of these players that is going to be their big win condition today, simply because the rest of the map, both Luger and Shoryu, relatively stable. Top lane, anything but.
Yeah, the top half of the map is what's going to decide the series, is Peter Dunn's words. He thinks of the top jungle synergy, and that's what we saw last time these two teams faced. I mean, it was Contracts getting the Nidalee 2 games in a row and absolutely putting on a clinic against Kenvi, but also Tony Top having an incredible series against Tenacity. But I will say Tenacity has grown a lot as a player. I want to highlight him as well here because when we remember him from the 100 Thieves Next program back when he was still an amateur, always known as a carry top laner. He likes resources. He likes to put pressure on the map and carry through his top lane. But now coming to Academy, he's shown that he is versatile as a player. He can play weak side. He can play the tanks. So I think it's really cool to see just the breadth. I mean, he's played a lot of the Volibear lately, and I'm going to say I'm still not convinced that the Coal Rush into a Turbo Chem Tank Blank Cleaver is the correct build, Tenacity. But you know what? It did get you like one win in the Arena of Legends, so maybe I'm wrong. But regardless, he plays a lot, right? He shows that he has a breadth in champion pool. We see carries like Aatrox and Renekton, but we also see the tanks like the Gragas and the Scion come out.
We've seen what that kind of flexibility in a top laner can do for a team if they can play something in the carry position or on weak side. But when you're talking about players like these, you have to mention the junglers, especially with the history between some of these in the 2v2. So let's go ahead and move on to it. The tale of two junglers. We've got Kenvi on one side, who did join Academy from 100 Thieves next, the same exact one as Tenacity, facing off against the World's Qualifier Contracts, who has been continuously making a stir for himself over the years.
This is one of the bigger, I think, just experience disparity matchups that we're going to have today here. Like you said, Contracts, he's been to Worlds. This is a jungler that's been around the scene for a very long time. And just last time we saw these two go up against each other, Contracts absolutely destroyed Kenvi in the jungle. And this is going to be a big challenge for Kenvi now. So how do you bounce back from that? Because he performs incredibly well against other amateur to academy junglers, some of the younger talent, but he has shown that he can struggle against veteran junglers that really understand certain matchups and understand where to put pressure on the map.
And I really want to jump off of that, Kingus, because we do have to point out a couple of these big things from the way that Contracts likes to play, right? He has really high kill participation, nearly 75% as the jungler. And when you're winning, that number is really hard to come by because you just start getting solo kills off on the side. You're not necessarily participating in everything, but he's there. And the other big one is the 50% first blood rate. Like, that's great. In half of games that he's playing, he is getting first blood. That's crazy. Like, normally you expect your entire team to be getting first blood in half of games. He alone as a single player is driving so much of the early action for Evil Geniuses. If he can do it on the top side, as Peter Dunn said, I think he'll be able to set them up for a lot of success today as well.
It's a very promising matchup for the fans between the trail that Kenvi has been blazing and then Contracts, who, speaking of his time Academy, even in times past, the growth that he shows during those periods of time. So we're talking about these players, their development thus far, and I think it's obvious that there are some superstars that are going into this matchup between these two teams, which really brings us to the question, and I'm going to go over to Kangas first. I mean, which players do you think really could be ready to make their way into the LCS?
That's a great question. I'm going to start over on the 100 Thieves side here. The player that really stands out to me as somebody that I want to see in the LCS is their bot laner Luger. This guy he's newer to the scene, so we'll do a quick history recap for anybody who's not aware. He played in the Turkish league on amateur and academy teams. You might know him from Fenerbahce Academy before he actually went into the TCL and played for Galacticos and got second in the regular season. So actually had a very strong finish in his first split. Then came right into the NA amateur scene or LCS academy scene and was undefeated in his first 8 games that he played. He came into 100 Thieves Academy that were kind of middle of the pack, struggling to find their footing, and then won out the rest of the season to close out a 3rd place finish. Then they went into the Arena of Legends tournament, which was an academy only tournament before this show, and they did very well in there as well. I think that sometimes he trolls a little bit in his games. If he can learn to CS a little bit better throughout his games, get a little more resources in his pocket, I think he's going to be a S tier AD carry. But the fact that he doesn't always have that many resources, but still can consistently carry in the later stages of the game, this is absolutely somebody that I want to see going into LCS.
We got to contrast that to what we're seeing on the other side in Evil Geniuses. You talked about the experience difference between Contracts and Kenvi, and man, I got to say, guys, this guy still got it. Can I remind everyone that in his first year of LCS, he made it to Worlds quarterfinals with Cloud9, and here in the Proving Grounds circuit and Proving Grounds itself, we've typically been highlighting Viper on NoOrg as this big MVP for his team, but Contracts is not far behind. This guy has still got it. He's able to be really aggressive, and if you look at a lot of the other players that are coming up through amateur, yeah, they're really good, but none of them are necessarily at the spot where they're ready to jump up to the top, and Contracts, he's had that experience. He knows what's going on, and he's really been showing it throughout this entire thing. So I can't wait to see how well he's going to be carrying the rest of the Evil Geniuses through this series.
He's been consistently out jungling every other rookie jungler, if we want to call them rookie junglers in the academy scene, right? Like the Potlucks, the Kenvis that have come up here from the amateur circuit. And yeah, Contracts is still showing that he is heads and shoulders above them in terms of the jungle role.
Even when we saw him in the LCS last year, admittedly there were roster changes, so it was for a brief time, but he showed promise and gave a lot of people reason to keep following his journey, and will continue to do so in the series today. But if we're talking about the players we think are ready to go into the LCS, what about players in this series that you believe will be the next superstars here in Academy?
Yesterday, during the interview, Darshan talked about how one of the biggest things he looks for in newer players is how coachable they are. And I think Tenacity has made leaps and bounds in that in regards to the last year that he was on 100 Thieves Next, now into 100 Thieves Academy. Before, he needed to be the strong side top laner. He demanded a lot of resources, but as he's learning to play, things like the Scion, the Gragas, as well as the Volibear that don't need as much attention, he's showing that he's willing to work with coaching staff. He's showing that as he matures, he is being able to listen to other people and not demand everything. And this adaptability, this willingness to change your playstyle is not something you see very often. And he's already been able to hang with a lot of the really strong top laners that have been showing up throughout the Proving Ground circuit.
And I got to highlight on the other side. First of all, I agree with you, Joshi. I think that Tenacity absolutely for 100 Thieves Academy. But I got to highlight somebody that has stood out for me since the Academy season began, but also surprised me that he was even picked up, and that's Jojo Pyun, the mid laner for EGA. I've been following the amateur and academy scene for a couple years now, and he kind of came out of nowhere for me. I did not expect to see this player starting on an academy roster. He played in Risen, he played in UPL, but didn't really have great finishes with the rosters that he were on. But I was talking with Peter Dunn from Evil Geniuses earlier before the show, and he said their scouting showed that he was one of their top prospects from the solo queue ladder. So they were looking at solo queue performance over what he was doing in the amateur scene. And I mean, he's 16 years old. He plays aggressive. He's a very moldable player, and I think it's completely understandable that Org would want to pick up somebody so young and so good at the game, because Peter Dunn said it reminds him of a young humanoid. He was like, this guy is somebody that makes things happen for himself and will actually, sometimes he ends, but at least you have somebody that's aggressive and then scale it back. I think that we need a lot more of that in North America. Talent that is aggressive, talent that will go in and make plays happen for themselves, because then you can teach them, hey, this is how you scale back that aggression rather than this is how to be aggressive.
Another player that's been showing a lot of promise, and it's great to get your predictions on who you think will be rising to the top in the next seasons to come. And in a few moments, I am going to get your predictions on the series itself. But before we do, a quick reminder of how this face-off between the two teams came to be.
Yeah, I just want to catch everybody up on 100 Thieves Academy's kind of circuit to get to this point. They had a couple shaky series against Immortals Academy and Golden Guardians Academy. I wasn't fully convinced that they were going to make the trek this far based on their performances recently, but I mean, that just kind of comes down to the team. You never know what 100 Thieves Academy is going to show up on the day. In their series against EGP, Evil Genius Prodigies, their amateur roster, they showed up, right? They made quick work of that, but now they're up against the big brothers in Evil Geniuses Academy, and I think that they're going to be a much harder opponent.
And I think we have to remember, King, is that it's not just all smooth sailing for them, right? It was a tough road for 100 Thieves to get here, but we have to remember who even put them in the lower bracket in the first place, and that was Evil Geniuses Academy. We alluded to it earlier, but that series was not close. So I'm excited to see what version of 100 Thieves we're going to be seeing on the Rift today.
But that series is complete. We've got a new fresh one here today. Joshi, who takes it at the end of this best of 5?
It's going to really depend on what version of 100 Thieves actually show up, and that means that I'm going to be going with Evil Geniuses Academy 3-1 on the day, simply because they've been showing that they are a bit more consistent throughout the entire series. I believe that Tony Top, he really had Tenacity's number last time, and if Contracts has a similar performance to what he had up against Kenby before, we'll really get to see what the experience of being an LCS player, having gone to Worlds, is going to be doing today. I think we're going to get a lot of 1v9 El Contracto action coming out from the jungle today.
All right, Kangas.
All right. You have a little more faith in 100 Thieves than I do. I'm going 3-0 for Evil Geniuses. I think that based on the last series, they absolutely stomped 3 different roles: top lane, jungle, and mid. Yes, we did see Tenacity start to play more weak side since then in the series that they've started to win and make their comeback, but I still see a very big discrepancy. Jojo Pyun was solo killing Demonte last time around. Contracts was absolutely out jungling Kenby, and I think that those two alone, I mean, Peter Dunn said it was going to be the top half of the map. I agree, but I also think that you got to look at that mid jungle, and I heavily favor Evil Geniuses there. So at least we both agree Evil Geniuses, but I'm a little more confident.
A heavily favored evil genius desk that we have here, but I'm sure there's going to be plenty of fans out there on the 100 Thieves side filling up the chat right now with all of their praise. I think that one thing that we have to consider, Joshi, you brought up the fact that this relies so much on contracts being able to pop off. Do you think there's anything that 100 Thieves can do besides trying to be on their best game to try and shut him down in this specific match?
And we saw yesterday going up against Evil Genius's Prodigies how effective 100 Thieves Academy were at developing early game plans. We saw how effectively they were diving aspect. They constantly got him behind. And we keep looking at players like Jojo Pyun to be really big impacts. And if they're just starting the game 0-3, it doesn't matter if Contracts can go to the other side of the jungle, bring him back a blue buff. He will never scale into the mid game and ever have an opportunity to be that threat that we typically look at him to be.
Don't give Contracts Nidalee. That's all I have to say. Just ban Nidalee and you're fine.
All right.
It's that easy.
Well, only one way to find out if the Nidalee is banned or not. We've got our boys Pastry Time and Raz ready to get us into the action. Fellas, take it away.
Thank you, Latigress, and hello everybody at home. I am Pastry Time, joined today by my pal Raz, and we have two of the strongest Academy Orgs going head-to-head. This is the last time they're going to play all Proving Grounds, Raz.
Yeah, and I love the fact that this is a run back and the winner goes into the losers finals. There's so much on the line and there's a lot of odds for both of these teams to look back on and say, okay, what did we mess up last time? How much have we changed since then? So it's going to be an exciting one as we're getting into the champion select.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. EG over on the blue to kick things off. 100 over on the red side. Tom Kent, get him out of there. Got to turn off the potential center Tom Kent's power. Certainly something Luga and Pum would be happy to have. Syndra banned, Renekton banned. Syndra seems like a pretty good target ban against a player like Damonte, also just very good with all the control mages that are running around these days.
Yeah, exactly. I know that people have been focusing on the jungle matchups because, as you could tell, Udyr and Hecarim are both available, so expect that to be traded here. But yes, the mid lane pool has been something that has been a topic. Damonte has been in a previous interview talking about how really the two S tier mages in Orianna and Victor, if this got targeted, he goes towards the Syndra. So I think that's EG, taking a nod to that. And I want to see what the mid lane pool is going to look like. Oh!
Ooh, I like that ban. That's going to mix it up a lot. Hecarim on blue side.
There we go!
Going to force out the Udyr ban from 100 Thieves Academy. Also banned Lucian away primarily from Jojo Pyun, actually, who has played a number of different champions. I think certainly known for his rise, but has been playing Renekton, Lucian, all the other mages as well that are in the mix. So very versatile as a player that is rapidly developing here in the Proving Grounds. But they did say not to give Contracts Nidalee on the desk, and there's a reason why, because last time they played it was a 2-0, and both those games did feature Nidalee.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Kangas mentioned it. Just don't give him. He literally, that was his final words, man. As he sent it to us, they're like, just don't give him Nidalee. 100 Thieves Academy thought that they did enough to be able to ban the Renekton. The Renekton-Nidalee combo which was the most damning one. The last time they faced off against each other, it was a Renekton mid lane from Jojo Pyun, who has an insanely large pool, actually. And so it was a flex pick for them. They wanted to take that off the board, and they thought it would make it easier now to deal with the Nidalee. In this case, 100 Thieves has the pick of the litter in terms of jungle. Kenvi does have a large jungle pool as well, so I want to see what his counter pick is going to be.
Yeah, not as many strong junglers potentially, but certainly if you want to get versatile, Kenvi is the kind of player that can do it. Kai'Sa selected also maybe something like Rel on the table here for 100 Thieves Academy, another pretty hotly contested pick, but so many options here for the Thieves as they run down the clock, and it is going to be Nocturne. So we talked about that diversity. That is one of the champions Kenvi played last time they did battle.
Yeah, it can be flexed to 3 roles, mid, jungle, and top. I think it's going to be Kenvi picking it up himself. I think right now, if you're an EG Academy, you should take the Rel away. Rel Nocturne is an obnoxious combination.
Not that one.
You don't want to deal with it. And especially like versus such a squishy backline, specifically the Nidalee, you're going to get popped. So seems like they're thinking about giving it away. Stop trolling us. I don't even want to see that pick. Don't remind me that it exists. So yeah, take away the Rel. Fantastic. And now I think you should lock in Alistar. Either Alistar, Gragas, something like that, because you don't want to go into 4-5. You just don't want to go into 4-5 with your support getting picked away from you. So now we're just looking for mid lane. We already talked about it. EG banned the Syndra, so they should just take away the very easy picks of like Victor and Orianna and make it harder now for Damonte, and he would have to go into his champion pool a little harder for that.
Yeah, both teams actually in the hunt for solo laners here because it's been bottom lane and jungle taken away. We were expecting at least on the 100 Thieves side, and absolutely that's what's happening on the EGA side. So Jace banned away from Tony top. We have things like Orianna, like the Victor that you mentioned. We have something maybe like Jax for Tony top as well. That is, of course, very well known for. Aurelia, though, going to be the ban here. So kind of a blocker to Gnar, which is maybe why you want to take that. But you don't have first pick out of this phase. So very curious to see what EG do with their phase 2 bans here.
That's interesting, right? You're right. They're trying to make the Gnar pick a lot easier. So it might be them saying that they're confident with their champion pool. Tony top, once again, has been given a lot of resources in the sense that like he's been having an insane amount of forward percentage. I think looking back at this, the highest forward percentage of top laners is 47%. So he does get the ability to push forward. So it's going to be the Victor. They're okay giving away the Orianna to 100 Thieves. So it's going to be, I think, a trade between Orianna and Gnar between both these teams. And both these teams should be confident, with the trade.
Yeah, it seems fine to me. I do like the Silas ban as well. Champion is definitely have stock rising. Joji Poon again, exceptionally good on that champion. But I think you're right. It's kind of the reason EG navigated the draft the way they did is they're expecting Damonte to want Orianna here right out of phase 2. So probably going to be Gnar and then whatever Joji Poon wants to play as a counterpick into Ori. Not expecting anything flashy.
Maybe Zoe, like, just taking a look at what their composition tries to accomplish. If they want to go team fight, I'm trying to figure out what that team fight mid lane pick would look like. But if they look, they see they have a Nidalee. They have decent engage with the Gnar on split. They could go Twisted Fate if they want to. So it's something like either a Twisted Fate or Zoe that I think are safe picks here that punish the range of Orianna.
What happens here?
Oh, it's not gonna happen. I'm not even gonna even think about it.
Yeah, it's a team with a little bit of flair, perhaps. Having some fun here as we'll have the picks rotated through, but EGA will decide on their mid laner here. Again, it's not going to be a super volatile one.
I love that.
Mid lane, Orianna is very stable, but it is going to be set, which is a bit different here in mid lane.
I love that. Jojo Pyun has played the set before, and it's just if you don't have access to the Renekton stun to set up the Nidalee, this is the guaranteed one for you now. So if you're Damonte, you know what's going to happen. It's going to be a flash forward. Stun you into a minion, and then it's going to be Nidalee just chucking a spear full distance. So mid lane's going to be the lane that EG Academy wants to play through, and with the lock-in of Malphite, that is a great ball delivery system and a very chunky front line. Alistar, Malphite, and of course Orianna is going to be there to either facilitate the Malphite engage or the Nocturne engage. It's a great front-to-back team fight.
Yeah, I like it. Even the little things like turning out the lads with Nocturne and ulting people on Malphite, much harder to flash away from in that instance. And I think so much room for Lugia here on the Kai'Sa, who even in lane maybe hasn't been all that potent. He's so consistent at farming, and his positioning in teamfights is exceptional. And Kai'Sa is the kind of champion that you can get away with a lot in any sort of hectic team fights. So I think 100 Thieves have set themselves up well. They are going to need to, given that the pressure from EGA is going to be pretty swift here. And they've kind of thrown down the gauntlet, I feel like, given a lot of comfort over, given the Nidalee over to Evil Genius's Academy. And, if you kick off the series getting smashed around by Contract's Nidalee again, maybe then you go back to the drawing board and decide that plan isn't the one you want to go for.
Yeah, definitely. This time you have much more room, a full best of 5. You'd love to see it. And even if you're thinking about the comfort picks, like Alistar's been played 5 times by Poom. It's his, I guess, the one he plays the most of all supports. For Luger, this is now his 7th game in all of Proving Grounds on the Kai'Sa. I know these are obviously the most picked AD carries out there. Orianna, once again, like most picked for Damonte. So if we're just talking about comfort from this respect, both teams are going to be comfortable. And I think it's a good way to start out this first game.
Speaking of starting out well, Contract's already on target. Damonte's health bar, thankfully, it's very early on. He can still afford to recall here because that's actually a massive amount of health loss just from one spear. Very efficient trade of Contract's amount for Damonte's health. And the advantage continuing here. Another one is going to hit! And now Damonte just getting bullied as he tries to recall here.
Yeah, and he's going to get stopped once more. So, like, this is the most annoying thing. If he just gets stopped here, ridiculous. So he's going to be coming back onto the map late, and it's going to be first push here from Jojo Pyun. But please just go back, Damonte. Just give him the respect, please. He's asking for respect.
The best part is that Poom was like in the area and like was kind of thinking about blocking, but just like couldn't be bothered to figure out like the right spot to stand. It's like, oh, it's fine. He's probably not still there. And then Contract throws yet another spear. So
Yeah.
Demonte's actually TPing level 1 to mid lane.
If he wants to contest the wave here, it has to be a teleport. And what a level 1. I know we're so conditioned to level 1 invades being, hey, now you'll lose your buff, maybe it's a kill or something, but this is just Demonte having a really awful start, and so Jojo Pyon's going to be able to get a shove on this one, and he has teleport advantage, so pretty incredible start from Contracts.
Yeah, going to start off taking this red as well, and Kenvy's actually starting blue side and going into Gromp, so might get 3 buffed here. We'll have to keep track of the early jungle piping, but Jojo Pyun already given the thumbs up, level 2, starting to really throw around the early advantage he generated, because, I mean, set, you know, melee into range, typically you're expecting to get kind of harassed out in the early levels. He was, like, literally at the wave when the TP came in as Luga, looking low, gets ignited there, as Shoyu's looking to throw the damage in, but no all-in for the rest of the health bar there, as level 2 will be hit by Luga and Poom.
Yeah, but what you just said is exactly correct, right? It's going to be a 3 buff. There's not going to be an opportunity for Kenby to invade on this, or he will get collapsed on because Tony Top is pushing up. So Kenby has to be creative, and it looks like that's going to be the case. He's looking for a top lane gank as Tony Top is trying to shove this one in. So let's see if it works out here.
Definitely a good player to try and gank early on. Tony Top loves to be forward in the lane. Wave is massive, though. Tenacity can't really do a whole lot here, and I think that wave's too big. Yeah, Kenby has to leave. Does spell shield the boomerang there, but Tony Top pushes a massive wave in, even to get some tower damage done as well. And Kenby just there visiting, really, making sure nothing else was happening.
Yeah, and the experience advantage is going to get larger. In fact, Contracts wants to be on the Scuttle Crab as it spawns, so he's just denying, effectively, a side of the map. And he's looking for a gank first.
Oh, they're going for it already. It's Renekton nearly all over again. Demonte will be forced to flash, but it was a trade for Jojo Pyun's flash there in mid. Still that pressure continuing to mount. Jojo Pyun's going to pull this wave just so slightly, try and get an edge here in the lane positioning, and level 4 shouldn't be too far away for set either, so Demonte's current experience advantage isn't going to last very long. And look at this, just getting almost completely zoned off the wave is Orianna here.
Yeah, it's a freeze, and there's nothing he can do about it. Both him and Kenby are on a really rough spot, and this is spanning from literally the level 1 from Demonte, and he's just going to get killed, potentially. Let's see.
No, Kenby here, thankfully, but they're still going for it. Contract's now going to get attacked. Kenby throws the fear down as the support's roaming in, but going to be A-OK as Contracts. I wonder why Demonte was running as much as he was, but the answer was, of course, Contracts was in hot pursuit once again. And continuing to just show all this early presence here as Contracts is going to go ahead and grab this Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, and honestly, Jojo Pyun and Contracts could make that chase for however long they want to. It's going to be Demonte that's losing waves, as the wave is pushing away from him. So this is just a pretty dire beginning of the game. Once Orianna comes back, they have to kind of think tank how him and Nocturne are going to come back in. One thing I didn't make a mention of, I didn't even see it until now. This is a flashless Renekton. Not Renekton. Nocturne. It is an Exhaust Smite Nocturne jungle.
Oh, well.
So he came in with the risk that if there's ever a fight, which is starting now.
I mean, Demonte's just getting harassed by Contracts every single time he walks back into the lane. I mean, I'm trying to figure out what target you want to be exhausting. I guess it's Nidalee. Just trying to make sure if a 1v1 breaks out, you're a little bit more okay, because that's really the only champion other than Set that's going to be diving in, and Set typically is going to be building much tankier.
It's very much just if there is ever going to be an early skirmish and it's going to be the Nidalee that jumps in, the Nocturne is just going to win. The lethal tempo that he has, the fear that he has, like the idea from it makes sense. It's just very risky. If you're falling behind, obviously you don't plan to fall behind, but if it just so happens, like this game, you're going to get punished. And so now just think of it. The next objective that comes up, be it Dragon if they want to fight for it, the Nocturne in the Orianna are the targets. If it's going to be, 3 minutes from now when the Rift Herald come up, it's very easy for Evil Genius Academy to target them and get an easy engage from the set. So as we're saying that, Kenby is looking for another opportunity. I think he's just going to actually let Malphite push in and make it so he's not a target of a gank. So I doubt the idea is to stay long enough. Okay.
Yeah, Tenacity was level 6, but Tony Top also dinging over, does get the shove back, needed to do that, but now Tenacity moving in, but doesn't, did pop the ulti, excuse me. Good flash from Tony Top, barely caught Tenacity channeling that one there, but Tony Top does survive the eventual 2v1.
Yeah, I just didn't think that gank was going to be, optional. I thought Tony Top was just going to let the wave come in. But speaking of that, bot lane is also a target, but they're playing respectfully here. Luger and Poom do not want to be caught in a 4v2 dive.
So they will indeed back away. Contracts continuing to steal camps away there as a result. There was a moment where the farm had evened out a little bit more, but that was mostly because of all the attention Contracts was paying mid lane. Now that he's backed off and gone back to clear the rest of the camps in both the enemy and his own jungle. As you can see, Contracts massively far ahead in farm. It's going to hit 6 pretty shortly as well, which is really where Kenvi wants to be, you know? Contracts hitting 6 and Kenvi's like, where's my level 6? That's where I'm supposed to be the good champion.
Yeah, and honestly, like, even a little bit of the experience that Kenvi does have comes from leeching experience top lane in that whole engage, and that whole time he was, coming through lane. So that's to be expected a little bit, but it's nice to see, and this is a good kind of time to talk about Contracts throughout the tournament, because throughout Academy itself, it wasn't looking good. For Evil Genius's Academy as a whole, this is why they are the 11th seeded team in the Proving Ground tournament, but they've turned it around immensely. Contracts looks like, just from the eye test from the entire spanning Proving Grounds, as the best jungler. He's consistently played insanely well on the picks like Nidalee, Taliyah, and he's only, of course, making it more impactful through this game. So it looks like another dive is the target here. Oh man, I don't think Luger can get away from this.
So dead. 5v1 dive. JoJoPyun's got ulti, Luger's got flash, but where do you go? You go nowhere. You get first blooded by Contracts is the answer.
No way you can get out of that one. That one, the moment you see TP channeling, you're like, all right, hands up. Just take me with you.
Yep.
Not only are they taking his life, but that's going to be a dragon to start. And it's usually 100 Thieves that takes dragons. They're the team that stacks dragons right from the beginning of the game. But for the foreseeable future, they should be conceding objectives. In this case, they're actually trading. So I love this. They knew that bot lane was going to be traded away. So 8 minutes, they'll go for a Rift Herald instead.
Yeah, credit to Luger. Didn't use either summoners, much like Under Oath could indeed see the writing on the wall. But it is still very nice for EG in the early games to watch this one again. I mean, you literally can't do anything. You're so dead.
Yeah, if you just don't read this play happening, it's just going to be over. And you don't have control of the wave, one, and you don't have any vision of the bot side river. That's just not going to be an access to you. So every single time Set dips into Fog of War, you're just going to have to guess and respect that he's coming to you. At some point, you have to make the call to walk up to the wave. He did so, and that was his death sentence.
Yeah, unfortunately, 18 CS now up for Shoyu. He's feeling very comfy on the Xayah here with how well his jungler and mid lane have done in this early game. Tony Top also doing quite nicely individually, continuing to play up an aggressive bit down on CS, and Tenacity will actually create a decently sized gap if he gets all of these, but still Tony is applying pressure.
Yeah.
Malphite's just kind of weathering the storm, and the ganks as well. I mean, this is the second time Kenvi's been here. Now the exhaust is going to help commit to the gank. The fear is down, the ulti's good, and Tenacity finds the conversion now mid lane 3v1. JoJoPyun flashes out, but he gets Shockwave back in, and that should be a kill. Indeed it is. It's Luger that collects it.
Finally, 100 Thieves gets something on the map, and that's 2 plays being made at the same time. 2 check marks. Love to see it from them. So we didn't get to see the setup of the mid lane, but that was really well done from Kenvi, making a return play towards the top side. You said 2 ganks, I counted 3. Tony Top has been receiving so much pressure, and it finally pays off because they took his flash down earlier on, and Kenvi was taking notes.
All right, let's just one again. This time it's the mid lane. Nocturne turns the lights out, and JoJoPyun just running back to lane, but didn't spot Luger or Poom.
Oh, it was during the Nocturne ultimate. So even though Alistar came out of the bush, he ain't going to see that. So the play top lane literally trickled down to the play mid lane because of Nocturne's impact on the map.
Beautiful. Not often that the that part of the paranoia is that effective, but Kenvi with some real nice timing there is going to give Damonte that kill over. Yeah. Still, the gold is in the hands of the places you expect it to be. It is Shoyu farming up very nicely, and Contracts, of course, with the early advantages he's generated. In fact, Luger's looking like he's going to lose his tower here alongside Poom in just a moment because Contracts is back in business. Mining wave running out, but here's another 4v2. And Poom going to be forced to run away.
Yeah, this shouldn't be a problem. They thinned out the wave. They have Kenvi here, so it's going to have to be EG Academy honestly sticking around a little bit longer to the point where it's just not efficient for Kenvi to be here anymore. You're already seeing him go back to his camp, so... Oh, no, wait a minute.
Good old Jojo Pyun pulls him in. Contract's here as well. That's so rude. Contract still chasing him, but Jojo Pyun almost on his own is going to grab that kill.
You should have expected that. I mean, he probably just thought that he had the damage to take down Jojo Pyun in his own, but no Nocturne ultimate there, so there was not going to be, it was always going to be a 1v1, and Nidalee was on the way. So just, you know, just a disrespect there from Damonte, and it's going to cost him.
Yeah, some plate gold over. Bottom lane has to be close. I think Shoryu and Mr. Quest are trying to get the wave pushed in ASAP.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure they'll be able to take the tower down. Still, the damage has been done with all the pressure Contracts has applied, and as I say it, it is indeed that first tower gold over to the bottom side of EG. As I watch this one again, Damonte just thought he had him here.
Yeah, he did. He thought he had something. He thought he knew that Nocturne was there, and it was probably either a miscommunication or him just not knowing that Nocturne didn't have ultimate. It was really close until it was up. I think around 10 seconds from that point. So it's one of those things where you think you have a great play and you have a really good amount of damage put on him, and you just pull the trigger.
Unfortunately, not enough burst, and Contracts adding all that damage in. Just flying through the air, following the set ult with the Nidalee W. Looks kind of funny, but very effective here, as it is Night Harvester first completed for Contracts. It's the first mythic item for their side, as Tenacity has finished off the Frostfire Gauntlet on the other.
Yeah, it's the two mythics on the side of Evil Genius Academy, where you only really see the one from 100 Thieves. That's just been the name of the game here, as, you know, Shoryu, who we haven't been talking, I mean, he's been receiving a lot of dives, sure, but he's been silently really netting a large advantage. So it's just going to be, honestly, it's whenever a bot lane, just the 2v2 has such a large lead, that's just the one thing that's the hardest thing to deal with. Because that then means that the Rel, in this case, Mysticus, will have the ability to roam far more frequently with Contracts. Set up for plays now that he's post 6 to be able to say, hey, you know, we see Kenvi, he doesn't have flash, I'll jump on him, you land spear, and that's an instant kill. So the Kenvi has to respect every time they have pushed through mid, and EG Academy has pushed through mid. So he's like, okay, I can't be in my jungle anymore if they're looking to go for top lane turret next.
Yeah, I think even just looking at like this bottom lane interaction, look, I mean, Jojo Pyun is like fine just pushing this wave out and forcing Damonte back. And if you're just in a side lane as Orianna, catching waves at towers, that's like the worst outpost ever. You have no influence as Orianna wanting to roam around, use your ultimate and help your team. Whereas this set's just like power walking through the jungle, waiting for someone to body slam. As Contracts gonna go ahead and start up this second dragon.
We've been through these games before, games where it feels so lost early game for, you know, the opposite side that you're just trying your hardest to freeze a wave for your carry, in this case Orianna. She's not even going to be allowed that, as this wave is going to crash almost surely. And you're just conceding every objective. You're conceding the dragons, you're conceding, you know, the blue side jungle if they were there. But I don't want 100 Thieves to be in the mentality where they're giving up everything. You have to draw a line in the sand somewhere. A control ward, let's say near Raptors, if, you know, next Rift Herald is going to be the play. So if they try and clear that control ward, then you have to pull a fight, right? You have to then say, as a team, we're not allowing this to happen. So that's something I want to see from 100 Thieves. I know they have faith in their scaling, in their team fighting, right? And if that's the case, then get there, but don't throw everything away to do it.
Yeah, don't want to be, you know, 8k behind by the time we get there. Maybe 3 is okay. As ulti there from Kenvi onto Contracts is going to force him back. Here's Poom again. Flash pole, headbutt. Gets them all in there. And Jojo Pyun's going to be dead to rights as well. Contracts running around but killed by Kenvi. And there's the Dunkaroonie, but Tenacity going to keep on chasing. And it's 4 Thieves versus 1 EGA player. And it is indeed going to be a kill over to Damonte.
You love to see it. It's Poom and it's Tenacity that are there for the play. And maybe Tony Top could have done something and TP'd, but remember, this was all during Nocturne Ultimate. There's nothing he could TP to during that time. So it was 100 Thieves that projected this play that was going to happen. That TP during the Nocturne Ultimate, so they didn't even know what the numbers advantage was going to look like. And so while the play finally, the veil lifts from Nocturne Ultimate, it's already over. 100 Thieves just win the fight.
Yeah, really well played. Again, it's been some nice counterplay here from the Thieves. That's 2 different ultimates from Kenvi that have borne some very delicious fruit. and kept the gold a bit more even. They're about a little under 1,000 gold behind at this stage. Still down 2 dragons and that first tower, so a lot still to play for here for EGA. They'll be happy with the early game lead they've gotten, but 100 Thieves at least are kind of doing what you said, Raz, just cutting that lead down a little bit and not letting them take everything without any sort of contest.
Yeah, and this gives me faith. This gives me confidence, honestly, in a team like this, that if they are falling behind, that they don't give everything away, like I said earlier. That they knew they had the ability to take that fight, and they called it instantly. So that was really well done, and it's honestly calling for a competitive series, something that we hope for. It looks like it's bearing fruit. Something that I've always wanted to talk about was like Nocturne's effectiveness. People have questioned Nocturne in the meta, like how good is he really in the top lane and in the jungle. But then when you finally see teams that are, you know, actually abusing the vision loss in his ultimate, like 100 Thieves Academy have done this game, you start to see the value. And I think that's something viewers don't get the chance to really think about. Because when you have true vision across the map between both teams, you don't really think about all these things of like, oh, well, they just literally didn't see the TP, or Tony Top didn't have the opportunity to TP in that moment. So that was a great example of it. And now makes it, regardless of the, you know, what happens this game, does Nocturne priority rise up in the series? Does it become a ban? Do they even want to deal with it, especially when Contracts loves playing Talia Nidalee that gets vulnerable to that?
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see. Also think Stride Break is a pretty good item, so any champion that can build it, I think Set included, who's a champion we don't see nearly enough of these days, certainly not in the mid lane, at least recently, as Kenvy's going to go ahead and steal the blue buff. I feel like that's the first time he's been in Contracts' jungle all game, but still a good thing to steal away regardless, as looks like teams are checking for that second Rift Herald. First one did go to 100 Thieves Academy, but didn't do too much there in the mid lane, and EG right on cue, going to go ahead and take the second one for themselves.
Yeah, this one isn't too effective. You know, turret plates are all down. Really, you can play for the next fight. So with this Rift Herald, it's going to be on 100 Thieves to kind of project where they're going to place it and how they're going to take that fight if they can back it up. And right now, Damonte, no mana, farming up side lanes. His objective is to just get back into the game. And with 164 minions underneath him, especially with how bad that early game is, he's doing a great job at doing that. I think if he bases here, he gets his mythic. There he goes, Leandri's. So he's, you know, coming back into the game, and it's now easier for 100 Thieves to take these fights that they've been wanting.
Yeah, and I think, you know, how much, how ready are the 100 Thieves, I guess, is going to be a question answered at this upcoming Dragon fight. 30 seconds until the Mountain Dragon will spawn it. That will, of course, be the Rift and the soul of this game. So EG, will they be the team to keep snowballing those objectives on the bottom side of the map like they've been doing? Or is there going to be a bit more contest? Right now, Damonte is top lane, but he does have TP. Tenacity without his is going to be mid lane here, so yeah. I like the assignments, although this Rift Tower is going to take out this mid tower, which is very nice if you're looking to get aggressive onto this Dragon, but the whole team is here to try and reinforce. Oh! It's just enough!
Not allowed. You're not allowed to take a turret here, and at least the objective of getting priority on the river was sort of accomplished from EG Genius Academy, but yeah, 100 Thieves were able to just completely take that away. Now I don't know how Evil Geniuses can walk in without dealing with the engage of Malphite and Alistar.
Yeah, it looks like a big money Malphite ulti coming up here for Tenacity, especially around the choke points here, as teams are trying to funnel out the jungle. 100 Thieves have already started the Dragon. Rel in, back with a Magnet Storm, finds two, but Kenby turns out the lights. And now Poom kind of under attack, but the rest of the Thieves looking to reinforce. Massive shockwave out of Damonte. Luger over the top with the Killer Instinct, and it's 2 dead already on EGA's side. There's the ulti out of Jojo Poom, but Tenacity's going to make it 3. Contract's going to be chased down for the 4th, and Shoyu is going to head for the hills over the wall with the Gale Forces. Contract is going to flash to live, but it's Thieves that win the fight and claim the Dragon at the end.
Woo! That was really well executed from the side of 100 Thieves there. And it should just be a free Dragon. Contracts will try to go for a steal. He doesn't have flash, so if he goes in, it's a one-way trip.
Oh,
wait a minute!
Kill. Wants to keep going for it, though. He's going to die to Damonte. He's going to call Worth on that play, but the Dragon still goes to 100 Thieves as they'll trade off the kills.
I didn't even know he did that much damage, honestly. I thought the Alistar was going to survive that one. Unfortunate. But yeah, like, the setup for the entire play was just so well done from 100 Thieves. Like, from EG's side, even during the fight, they didn't want to fully commit. They knew that they needed to find a better angle, that Alistar was just going to take that entire, the DPS they were throwing at him. beautiful Orianna ultimate to get those 3 members, stacked up with the Malphite ultimate, and Luger got an advantageous position to deal damage to the backline. That was just picture perfect, and it showcases how strong their team fighting is. I don't know about that one, EG.
Yeah, I was like, this is the wildest two-man Baron I've ever seen. We'll think about it a bit later, perhaps. We'll watch this one again. I mean, EG, like you said, tried to find the angle, but 100 Thieves knew exactly what they were doing here.
There was just no follow-up. There could be a follow-up. Xayah and Nidalee were 10 miles away, so Damonte was in a safe position. And the fact that they were able to get this kind of combo out that kills Tony Top instantly is just lights out. EG had to back away. They were already in a pretty bad position, and they were preying on 100 Thieves to make a mistake, and it just didn't happen.
All right, well, as we know, Contract did indeed trade his life out for Pooms at the end of that play, but is 100 Thieves now up in the gold lead, a little over 1,000 gold ahead, still actually trying to take down their first tower of the game, so there's lots of standing gold on the map for them to take as well. That TP is coming in somewhere. Top looks like he wants to go top side. KMV going to absorb the Nidalee Q, and 100 Thieves going to walk away.
Yeah, rather ambitious, and Malphite is losing. It's not even Malphite actually. Tony Top was losing a lot. They were just losing a lot of minion wave spot lane during this entire thing. But it kind of goes to show everyone's concerned about Baron vision. They don't want to just lose Baron instantly, especially when EG's lost control of this game. First time that 100 Thieves have gotten the gold lead in this game, and it really feels difficult to take them in a fight. So if 100 Thieves just take full vision, they can just start Baron, so they don't want that at all.
Yeah, gonna lose his tower as well. This is a good extension of the work they did earlier. As EG, I think, are just trying to continue to keep the tempo very high here. Not wanting to give 100 Thieves room to set up and maybe take down towers of their own, because even though both teams are concerned about Baron right now, very, very challenging to get anywhere near Baron when you still have all these outer towers up. So 100 Thieves are like trying to get the work done, right? Like, they're up ahead in gold, they've got their items, they're staying more as a pack now, but the longer and scrappier EG want to keep them off their towers, the better. I just don't think it's going to last for too long. And as I say that, 100 Thieves are going to indeed trade off the mid lane outers.
Yeah, and what EG Academy did right there is a concept called overloading, where you're just sending more members, and you're going to sack a wave or something like that on the side lane, just so you can get an objective. In this case, they got vision on around Baron, and they pushed 100 Thieves off of it, and they got mid lane turret, but they lost so much because of that. That is a lot of minion waves on side lane. Tony Top, who was doing quite well earlier on in this game, is now just, getting out CS'd and everything by the Malphite, who's looking pretty damn strong right now.
This Malphite's going off. I mean, talk about, anti-AD picks here. Set.
Oh, no.
Building more tanky, but, Tenaci's just ready for the 1v1. Luger's here. He missed the W, but it's just not going to matter. Luger moving in to collect it. Georgia Peel with the Donkaroni. Is he going to get the turnaround kill? It's close, but Luger is going to get the kill in the end.
I was sweating there. I was like, wait a second, are you going to let the AD carry die like that? Had to expend his ultimate, but Luger comes out alive on that one at least. Didn't have to use a summoner, but there's a little scrap happening here. Nidalee just wants the Krug camp.
I mean, take Nocturne's life too if it's going to be offered, as Tony Top is going to clear out the top outer as well. So it's EG with the first 3 towers being knocked off, but this game is getting scrappy here as the teams are trading engagements back and forth. About to really open up the rift. Gonna have Dragon coming up again for the 4th time this game in 50 seconds. And gonna have another big fight on the cards here. And I think 100 Thieves, that's where they feel most comfortable. They've done a good job of counter-attacking and kind of keeping the game close. But when it comes to these objectives, it's just 5v5 Kingdom here. Damonte's getting assassinated. See you later. Oh, Shockwave? Nope, doesn't matter. Shut down there for Nidalee.
Yeah, there we go. Great shutdown gold there. The only thing that can stop that from happening is having connecting wards there. Poom caught in transition now.
Yeah, gonna die, I think. The ulti's gonna keep him alive for quite a bit longer, but follow-up is all they really need, and show you with the Gale Force plus the last few autos as the feathers get put in the back, and it just keeps going. Rail flashes in unmounted, gets the massive CC 10. Jojo Poon adds to it, Tenaci's out of there, and Contracts is in there, baby. That's a shutdown.
I feel like I've seen this before. 100 Thieves Academy is like, when they get into the mid game, there's just a blip right there. There'll be a part of the game where they just die like dominoes, just fall down. And now it's a great opportunity for EG Academy, get back into the game. That's going to be barren to them. And 100 Thieves are going to try and get their second dragon, but that's just them trying to get scraps here.
Yeah, I mean, that's the concession prize. Pretty crappy one at that.
Yeah.
will be Baron over to EG. And it's funny you say that. It's almost like, you know, you ask them about it after the game, like, I don't remember that happening, right? It's kind of like a gap in the memory because everything was going so well. And now the Baron buff's over to EG, and it's maybe going to get worse.
Yeah, I've seen this happen now maybe 2 other times, I feel like, in Proving Grounds, where everything is looking great. But here's the thing, mistakes happen. Like Orianna dying initially, that kind of thing happens where it's like, okay, we didn't have the proper ward down, so it's easier for Damonte to get from top lane to mid lane. Okay, that happens. But then why is Poom in a position like this? And then why are, like, we're just trying so hard to, you know, salvage what we can't take. We knew there were 4 people on the map here. Why are we sending 2 more? So these are issues here where I think 100 Thieves Academy, when they fall behind, there's not a clear voice or clear confidence in what they should be doing next.
All right, well, it's 3 kills on the Baron here. Almost 2,000 gold up for Evil Geniuses Academy, and as I said, it could definitely get worse here as the minutes roll on. You can see the gold graph has been a bit of a roller coaster.
Yeah.
EG needs to convert this Baron into more gold here, which should be some of these side lanes. I'm sure this tier 2 is dead here in bottom lane. Nothing to stop this push from coming in. Although 100 Thieves are going to make a go of it here in mid lane. All 5 trying to counter push mid.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine to trade here, but what are you trading for? And like, inhibitor is going to be threatened, so you do need to be there on time. And even if you are there to save the inhibitor, an open inhibitor anyways on the opposite side of Baron is always going to be a problem.
Also a little bit worried for Luger here, though. I think he is going to make it out safely. If he gets spotted by Jojopyun, though, could be lights out there, but EG just going to back away. Luger does indeed go through the middle of the map, although EG are going to head there now anyway to try and siege down the tier 2 here in mid. And it's going to be 3 towers at least with a minute left on the Baron. Could be more, certainly.
Yeah.
As it looks like Shoryu's going to work on the inhib pressure down towards bottom lane. Tenacity going to fish for an ulti, though.
He should. Nocturne doesn't have much mana, so even though he can use an ultimate, he can't really do much other than just be a meat shield. So yeah, he's getting mana back, actually, so they can go for a fight here if they want to.
But the Skeletor crab he's on, we've got a lot left, but this tower's dead, so apparently 100 Thieves weren't interested in contesting that one.
The concern here is that now all the vision that Evil Genius Academy have put in the blue side jungle, they should want to maintain that. 2 minutes until next dragon, that'll be their 3rd. Like, these are the type of things where you're like, great, now they can't fight into us. We can just be chucking Nidalee spears. Okay, what?
Boom, that's a play. Ulti flash there, Magnet Storm to counter play, and now Luger over the top gets a shutdown. Into the backward killer instinct, but the counter pressure is there. Luger going to go down into stasis you go, but still dead there as Contract's going to kill Poom. Luger ignited and alive, I might add, as Tenacity is going to head them off at the pass and make sure the AD stays up and alive, but now run to the backside there is EG. Still getting a bit low. Kenvi low on health. Contract's also trying to battle this Malphite that's Ray bossing everyone as Damonte takes down the support. Now Tony top throwing the boomerangs out, but they don't have any follow-up left. It's Jojopyun that can maybe go over the wall with the flash, but everyone else from 100 Thieves is out of there.
That's a dub. That's a 1 for 2 there. The fact that 100 Thieves were able to find a play like that when EG are making bases there, that was crazy. They were playing on a tightrope there, and it works out. Poom with an insane engage, and Luger comes in to finish it off. I want to see that again, because that was beauty.
Yeah, you know, I was sad to hear the Gambit lost her League of Legends squad today, officially saying that, you know, after, I think, 8 years in the scene, there will be no Gambit League of Legends squad. And for me personally, that Alistar move behind the what was then the Wraith Bush, now of course the Raptor Brush, into mid lane has definitely been something that Edward from Gambit showed us. And Poom showing that off, you know, almost 10 years later.
That's true. I love that callback. And it's that kind of attitude that you love to see in teams that feel like they're falling behind, but they ain't calling it quits. So even with a thing like this, I thought it was over. It felt bad. I thought these were 2 easy kills there that Evil Geniuses Academy can answer back, and they still had great control towards the dragon. But then the second wave of engage that Tenacity has in the back line, I thought was great, and Mystique's had no way of getting out of there. So really well done from 100 Thieves. Not only strategically to start it off, but mechanically to get the hell out of there right after that. Wait a minute.
And we're going again. Whoa, Jojopyun Dunkaroonie in the backside. Kenvi already doving in with the strike breaker. Sure, you're going to be forced to ulti up. And now the rest of EG peeling off Kenby. Kenby gonna die here, but a trade as Jojo Pune did die as well, but Contracts still running in there. Dashes on top of Tenacity, who's quite low here as the Spears will continue to fly towards the Thieves. It's 4v4 now around the Dragon, but Kenby dead for 35 more seconds. Contracts, oh, we wanted it so bad. Luger was tagged up, but Contracts could not get the extension after flashing there. Instead, they'll back away and EG will take the Dragon instead.
Yeah, and I didn't see any Malphite ultis there. I don't know what you guys are talking about, Chad. That didn't happen. Definitely wasn't the case, but that's going to be Dragon now. Third Dragon over to Evil Geniuses Academy off after all of that. Sure, Set ended up throwing himself in that one for the engage, but that's, you know, Nidalee being up, Nocturne being down, and far more healthier targets from Evil Geniuses Academy when 100 Thieves just didn't have Alistar ulti, so he's at that point paper. So good decision there from 100 Thieves, but man, what a wild back and forth game this is.
Yeah, hopefully the rest of the series is like this, to be honest. After EG toured them last time and felt like the confidence was high for EG, which certainly can't blame them. 100 Thieves certainly putting up a fight here. Game's still very close here. It's soul point now for EGA. Only 1,000 gold up for them as that Baron didn't quite get them into the inhib in the bottom side of the map. So that pressure not really there as the Baron has now respawned and the teams look to play for it once again. Not to mention that Dragon Soul on offer for EGA. And of course for 100 Thieves, one Dragon after that in 4 minutes time. So a lot to play for here. And I think 100 Thieves, if they are going to be leaning on more of their scaling this game, they can pretty successfully say they've gotten to the point where they are scaled.
Yeah.
But EG have certainly shown that they can navigate fights, especially this Nidalee. I mean, 400 gold bounty, 5-2-1, 3 damage items, 6 stacks on the Dark Seal. Contracts is not messing around here.
Yeah, and honestly, Contracts has done a great job this game of bridging on towards the carries that will scale, right? I feel like both teams have heroes. On 100 Thieves side, the Orianna should do a lot of damage at this point. She is the one that started the game incredibly far behind, but now she has her items. She should be able to rip apart the front line, absolutely. Meanwhile, Evil Genius Academy, Shoryu has his LDR, his Essence Reaver. He's going towards his Infinity Edge. Like, he is going to destroy Kenvi or Tenacity that comes in front of him. So here we go. Baron is the target.
This might be very spicy. Poom off to the flank, though, lights off. Jojo Pune already in the front line, though, and Poom's actually taking damage in the ulti. Can be a little low, but now it's the front side that's in trouble. Massive bounce around there as Demonte's going to take out one, but it's a trade back as Shoryu. He still managed to find the rest of the kills. A double kill, though, for Demonte, as Nidalee's going to find the shutdown finally on the Ori, and it's the carries left alive here for EG as Shoryu looking to chase down Luger, gets him in the front side of the ulti, and that's the ace for Contracts.
There it is. Shoryu throughout that entire fight, untouched, Mr. Untouchable. They were going in, it felt like a scramble, but he was the most comfortable person on the map, and that's going to be an easy Baron pickup for Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, plenty of damage here. No need for a tank, and I like the threat for 100 Thieves. It's so easy for them to tank Baron up with this Malphite and threaten it here, but this positioning, as you said, let's watch it again from Shoryu.
Yeah, I thought that Tony Top had a really good plan here. Jojo Pune wasting 4 people's time doing his job there. But just take a look at Shoryu. Man pulls up a seat. Says, no one's touching me. I'm just going to do my job. And I think he played that one perfectly. Even when Luger was left alone there with Tenacity, they were like, wait, we can't touch him at this point. Still has ultimate and flash up too. Wasn't even forced to use either of his defensive tools. So I thought that Evil Geniuses, Shoryu for sure, knew that they would win that fight.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't realize how absurd it was that the front side of the Xayah ulti killing the Kai'Sa was until you point out that, like, yeah, that means he didn't use it before.
Yeah.
As EG are going to roll in and take the Baron as a result, up 4K and looking to really smash down some of these structures now. That bottom lane inhib is, you can say goodbye to it now, chat. It's not going to be around for a few more minutes as Mr. Case in the backside, looking for Poom, but not going to find it.
All right,
Monte
but not
also
gonna be
keeping
punted.
them at bay.
You just have your boys right next to you. It's okay. Does not matter. You're just challenging them. Say, touch me. I dare you. if you even try to engage on me, that's where my team is ready to come. So 1 minute until Soul and 100 Thieves have to throw everything to fight this one.
Poom is in there. Tenacity finds 2, but what a beautiful ulti out of Shoryu. And now Kenvi going to look to chase in. Tenacity, they're also there on top. Georgia Pune, they're getting on to Kenvi. Luga, though, footing the chase in. But Tenacity just been kited to high heaven. It's the first kill over there to Rel. Tenacity's going to fall, and now Kenvi going to be chased up by the Rel as well, making a double there for the Rel as EG streaming in with a 5v3. Shockwave finds Contracts. Contracts zips on out of there. Jojo Pune double grab there after the flash, and Tony Top's going to get one. That's going to be 4, and EG just keep finding team fight wins. They're going to charge through mid lane and try and end the game.
Yeah, there we go. That's another W. Team fight win and your first game in the series. Evil geniuses, man. Like, Contracts was already in the mid lane too. Getting the wave prep, knew his team was going to finish it off without him, and that's going to be a back and forth, but a great way to notch that first victory.
Looking good here. The Nexus will fall. It's Evil Genius Academy right where they left off against 100 Thieves last time, up 1-0, but in a best of 5 this time.
Man, that one is definitely a highlight game for Shoryu, I think. That one was beautiful.
Put that one on the resume.
Exactly. And a lot of people will be clowning on 100 Thieves in the final fight, but think of the position you're in, right? Soul is the target. You're going to lose team fights. You just have to find any engage and hope that the enemy team makes an error. Not going to happen if Shoryu is playing on his game, and that was what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it just felt like, as you said, kind of perfectly, Contracts was just a bridge that let Shoryu, cross to the end of the game and into the enemy nexus right at the end of it there. It's just EG looking very good in the 5v5s, which is where we thought 100 Thieves might have a bit of an advantage. But even with, Stridebreaker, Nocturne, Malphite, Kai'Sa, right, can Killer Instinct into any position if there's an assassination to be had on a backliner, and just Shoryu survived everything.
Yeah, and honestly, 100 Thieves, if they look back at this game with a limited time between game 1 and game 2, they should just recognize there are a lot of good things that happen in this game. And the one thing we cannot mess up again is, like, if one person dies on a side lane, like Oriana did to the Nidalee, we don't have to throw ourselves in like lemmings. Like, recognize that we are playing defensively. You got to know when to fold them. And that one was when they literally could have played back, looked to defend Baron, but that's when 3 people died and they lost control of the game. So they were in a good position there for a little bit, and they should be confident going into the next one that they can rectify those errors.
Yeah, certainly adjustments to be made, but Evil Genius is looking pretty good as they take the first game in the series. And though it is time for us to step away, we'll be breaking down there when the analyst desk when we return. We'll catch you there.
welcome back to LCS Proving Grounds presented by Verizon. We are only one game deep into our series between Evil Geniuses Academy and 100 Thieves Academy, and it is EGA that came out on top. But for anybody that may have missed the action, we got you covered here on the most important bits. And Kangas, there is something specific that you called out that might appear in this series that we did get to witness.
First pick, we saw it come out. The Nidalee 100 Thieves were not respecting it. Didn't remember what it did to them last time around, but regardless, they leave it up and Contracts locks that in immediately. And I mean, we saw why throughout that game. Contracts loves this pick, and in particular, he can really take advantage of it against Kenvi, who really struggles in this jungle matchup. But then we can just highlight the rest of the drafts too, because 100 Thieves really double down on this dive composition, right? They lock in immediately the Kaisa, the Nocturne, the Alistair. This is already signaling a composition that wants to go in. So I love this response here from Evil Geniuses Academy saying, okay, well, Nidalee's already not looking as good now, so let's lock in the Xyl, let's lock in the Rel, something that can peel back a little bit more and not get dove on. And then they see the Orianna, so they say, okay, screw this, we're giving Jojo Pyun the set. We're not locking in control mages mid, we're locking in things that can answer the dive, which then again 100 Thieves really tripled down on with that Malphite. So what this shows, 100 Thieves Academy want to group up, they want to fight, they want to take out members, blow them up, which really Contracts is that big member, whereas then you look at Evil Geniuses, they got to make picks, they got to get a kill, and then look for that team fight, because it's really hard to win these 5v5s if you just get bursted down immediately.
Let's talk more about Contracts and what he did with that first pick, though, because Joshi, right off the bat, we saw what kind of control he can have over the game.
Starting from level 1, man, he was just in Damonte's face the entire time. We're actually going to get a really cool zoom out so we can track exactly what he did, because this is not a standard path for junglers, right? He goes in, he does red Raptors while Kenvi is on the opposite side of the map, and then Contracts will go over to his own side, just walk through mid lane, taking another red Raptors, and just like as he watches, he's playing with the priority that he has in both of his side lanes. He's able to pick this up. He knows that as his opponents are backing away in the bottom lane, Mystiquest is able to walk up. He's able to get a lot more pressure. Tony Top is pushed really far forward, and after Kenvi has a bit of a failed gank, Contracts able to take advantage of the fact that he is still on the map. He still has things to do, but because Kenvi doesn't, it puts Damonte and Kenvi in a really awkward spot. And being able to watch how he takes these non-standard paths, how he's constantly adapting to not only his own lanes, but the opposing side of the map, ends up giving him a huge lead. He gets both crabs, and notably, still has his entire jungle to farm. So the jungle advantage that you saw on the screen of about a camp actually was a lot closer to 4 or 5.
And we didn't even mention the fact that he got teleport out of Damonte to start all that out, just bullying him with those spears level 1, and then gets a flash out of him too. So yeah, very, very strong early game coming out from Contracts.
And that's exactly what, I mean, Joshi, for instance, you called out the fact that they would need Contracts to have a very effective series for them to be able to go away with it. We're also trying to nail down exactly where that action would kick off, being one of the assumptions by those out there. But it was a play from the top laner, Joshi, that really made the difference early.
Yeah, it was interesting because it wasn't a huge play that a lot of people think of. One, I mean, it's hard to predict the fact that this is Tenacity's first ever Malphite game. I don't blame them for not really planning around it, but just noting that as he was getting about to be aggressed on by Kenvi, as the Nocturne was coming top lane with level 6, Tony Top knows he can't be the play. He can't give anything back as Luger is getting dove. So what does he do? He teleports out of his lane. He's suddenly no longer in danger, and while he doesn't get anything, he ends up rewarding his team by not giving anything back at the same time. So I really liked that play. Not what you were expecting, but way more ramifications than we might have initially expected.
And speaking of what not to expect, I do want to note some of the things on 100 Thieves side that did bring them back into the fight in the mid game. Kangas Poom really making some moves quite literally across the map.
Yeah, Poom was really keeping 100 Thieves in this game with these roams that he was going for. It's looking really rough. They were down like 2k gold. Evil Geniuses had a very strong early game. This play in particular didn't amount for much. I'm still shocked he made it out alive right here. Just like, hey, oh, sorry, don't mind me. But look at the vision he gets down. You know, they're tracking the jungle. And then this is the big one here where this is his second time doing the exact same ward pathing. and he's not spotted either time. This time, though, they get a huge play for it, and this is what you love to see from a support like Poom. He's still relatively new to League of Legends as a whole compared to a lot of these other players that have been playing this game for years. But I love to see that he's just got this mindset of get out of lane, start making plays happen, get around the map, get this vision down. And this is what 100 Thieves needed to stay in this game, because that got them a lot of gold in their pockets, and then they were able to actually get to the teamfight stage that they needed to without too big of a gold deficit.
Yeah, I want to highlight a couple things. Firstly, Poom, he does these first set of roams without any vision on the rest of his team. EGA don't know where 100 Thieves are, and that allows him to bluff that they're with him because you don't know better. That was a big difference that he got a little bit punished for it later on. But after Poom brings it back, we see Contract say, nah, I'm taking this right back. We're going to get back to the Chaos style that I love to play. Finds a solo kill onto Contracts, and this just leads into a number of picks for Evil Geniuses that will eventually reward them with the Baron. They get some chaos back into the game. They tear apart the battle lines that we know that 100 Thieves want to be playing with, and it ends up resulting in them taking a couple of close team fights, but ones that they were able to definitively win in the end.
Yeah, it was those key moments, as you said, Joshi, leading to the winning victory for EGA. This is a series, though, after all, which means 100 Thieves Academy have elected to go over to blue side. No substitutions. Kangas, what would you like to see come differently from 100 Thieves A?
I mean, right off the bat, can we just respect the Nidalee? I know I said it already, ban it out, and maybe you're thinking it's not that high of a priority jungler, right? You know, there's things like the Hecarim, like the Udyr that you need to ban out first, but Contracts on this pick, this is his comfort. He loves this one, and this is now 3 games in a row that you've got trounced by him on this pick. So I think that just getting him off of that, getting Kenvi in a better jungle matchup should absolutely be their top priority.
I think it took a heroic effort just to prevent this game from being a snowball caused by Contracts, right? Poom had these really big plays that brought the game right on back to even. But Mystiquest, he's talked about himself being this huge player in these best of series. He really prides himself on his adaptability. And the question is, if Mystiquest is able to respond to some of these roams that Poom has been going for and prevents those from taking place, I'm not sure that 100 Thieves will have what it takes to bring themselves back from the brink after such a disastrous early game.
With Mystiquest considering himself very much a series player, I am sure he is satisfied to be walking away with the victory in game number 1. This is a best of 5, so there's more action to come here on LCS Proving Grounds. We will see you on the other side of this break. Stay tuned.